You know that feeling when you snap at your partner over something tiny, or when you suddenly can't say no to things you don't want to do, or when you realize you haven't initiated sex in months, and you're not even sure why. That's not a personality flaw, that's hormones. It's me, Fleur, and today we're talking about the 4 hormones controlling your life: estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and cortisol. Most people think hormones only matter during puberty or menopause. That's wrong. These 4 chemicals are running the show every single day, and when you understand how they interact, suddenly your relationships make sense. Let's break it down. Here is what you need to know up front. These 4 hormones don't work in isolation. They're constantly talking to each other, affecting each other, sometimes helping each other, sometimes fighting each other. Think of them like a band. Estrogen is your lead singer. Progesterone is your bassist. Testosterone is your drummer. And cortisol. Cortisol is the sound guy who can ruin everything. When everyone's in sync, you feel amazing. When one instrument is too loud or too quiet, the whole song falls apart. So let's meet the band. First up, estrogen, the lead singer, your social superpower. Estrogen gets a bad rap. People associate it with mood swings or bloating, but estrogen is actually your best friend most of the time. When estrogen is balanced, you feel energetic, optimistic, focused. Your skin looks good. Your metabolism works efficiently. Your brain processes information faster. Estrogen also makes you more socially confident. It literally increases serotonin in your brain. That's your feel good neurotransmitter. But here is what's really interesting. Estrogen improves your verbal memory and your ability to read facial expressions. When estrogen is high, you are a better communicator. You understand your partner better. You find the right words easier. You can look at someone's face and actually know what they're feeling. This is why you might notice during your follicular phase or around ovulation, conversations with your partner feel easier. You're more articulate, more empathetic, more connected. But here is the thing. When estrogen crashes, you literally lose some of that linguistic superpower. Suddenly, you can't find the words. You misread your partner's tone. Small misunderstandings feel massive. That's not you being difficult. That's your verbal fluency dropping along with your estrogen. Estrogen doesn't stay constant. It rises and falls throughout your cycle. During your follicular phase and ovulation, estrogen is high. During your menstrual and late luteal phase, it's low. When estrogen crashes, that's when you might feel withdrawn, foggy, or irritable. Not because you're broken, because the chemical that usually helps you communicate just left the building. Next, progesterone, the bassist, your calming force. If estrogen is the party starter, progesterone is the cozy blanket. Progesterone shows up after ovulation. Its main job is to maintain the uterine lining, in case you get pregnant. But it does a lot more than that. Progesterone is sedating. It activates GABA receptors in your brain. That's the same system that anti-anxiety medications target. When progesterone is doing its job, you feel calm, grounded, maybe a little sleepy. You're not as interested in going out. You want to stay in. Nest bond with people you're close to. In relationships, this is when intimacy shifts from excitement to depth. You're less interested in novelty and more interested in safety. You want emotional connection, not adventure. But progesterone has a dark side. Too much of it, and you feel sluggish, foggy, unmotivated. And when it crashes right before your period, that sudden drop can trigger anxiety, irritability, and mood swings. That PMS irritability everyone jokes about, that's not progesterone being high. That's progesterone disappearing. Your body goes from calm and grounded to anxious and reactive in 48 hours. And that affects how you show up in your relationship. Things that didn't bother you last week suddenly feel unbearable. Now let's talk about testosterone, the drummer. Yes, women have it too. Most people think testosterone is a male hormone. Wrong. Women produce testosterone too, just in smaller amounts. And testosterone is critical. It controls your sex drive, your assertiveness, your confidence, and your ability to build muscle. You get a little spike of testosterone during ovulation. That's why your libido tends to be highest around day 14 of your cycle. But here is what's interesting. Testosterone doesn't just affect your desire for sex. It affects your desire for agency. In relationship psychology, we see a clear link between healthy testosterone levels and the ability to set boundaries. If you feel like a doormat in your relationship, or you can never decide where to go for dinner, or you always say yes when you mean no, checking your testosterone levels might actually be part of the answer. Low testosterone doesn't just kill your sex drive, it kills your ability to advocate for yourself. When testosterone is balanced, you feel strong, capable, magnetic. You can say no without guilt. You can initiate what you want. You can stand up for yourself without collapsing into anxiety. When it's low, you might feel apathetic, uninterested in sex, and like you've lost your voice in the relationship. High testosterone, on the other hand, can make you more aggressive or impatient. It's all about balance. Finally, cortisol, the sound guy, the one who can ruin everything. Cortisol is the wild card. It's not part of your reproductive cycle like the other three, but it affects everything. Cortisol's job is to respond to stress. When you're in danger, cortisol floods your system. It increases your heart rate, sharpens your focus, and prepares you to fight or run. That's great if you're being chased by a bear, but most of us aren't being chased by bears. We're stressed about work, money, relationships, health, social media, traffic, and chronic stress means chronic cortisol, which is a problem because when cortisol is high for too long, it starts messing with your other hormones. High cortisol suppresses estrogen. It blocks progesterone. It lowers testosterone. It disrupts your entire cycle. This is why women under chronic stress often experience irregular periods, low libido, mood swings, and fatigue. It's not that they're weak. It's that cortisol is hijacking the system. In relationships, chronic high cortisol makes you reactive. You snap at small things. You feel defensive. You struggle to feel safe or connected. But here is the hard truth about cortisol and intimacy. Cortisol keeps you in survival mode, and you cannot be vulnerable with your partner if your body thinks it's fighting for survival. Intimacy requires safety. Emotional openness requires your nervous system to be calm. But cortisol physically blocks your ability to feel safe in someone else's arms. This is why stress sex is rarely connecting. Your body is locked down. It's protecting you. And protection and vulnerability cannot coexist. So that's the band. Estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, cortisol. Now let's talk about how they interact. Here is where it gets interesting. These hormones don't just exist side by side, they regulate each other. And when one gets out of balance, it throws the others off too. Let's start with the HPO axis. That stands for hypothalamus, pituitary, ovarian axis. It sounds complicated, but think of it like a corporate office. Your hypothalamus is the CEO. It decides what needs to happen. It tells the pituitary gland, the manager, to send a memo. That memo goes to the ovaries, the workers. The workers produce the product, estrogen and progesterone. When there is enough product, the workers send a message back to the CEO saying, "We're good, stop sending memos." That's the feedback loop. It's a communication system. When estrogen is high, your brain gets the message to stop producing more. When estrogen is low, your brain gets the message to ramp up production. This is why balance is so important. If one part of the system is disrupted, the whole loop breaks down. And here is what disrupts it most. Cortisol. When cortisol, stress, enters the building, it cuts the phone lines. The CEO keeps screaming, the workers stop working, and the whole company shuts down. Chronic stress doesn't just make you feel bad, it literally shuts down your reproductive system. Your body thinks you're in survival mode, and in survival mode, reproduction is not a priority. So your brain stops signaling your ovaries properly. Your estrogen drops. Your progesterone drops. Your testosterone drops. Your cycle becomes irregular or stops altogether. This is called hypothalamic amenorrhea. It's when stress literally turns off your period. But even if your period doesn't stop, chronic cortisol still messes with the balance. You might ovulate late, or not at all. You might have a shorter luteal phase, which means less progesterone. You might feel exhausted even when estrogen should be giving you energy. So what does hormone imbalance actually look like? Let's talk symptoms. Low estrogen, fatigue, brain fog, low libido, vaginal dryness, brittle hair, irregular periods, hot flashes, trouble finding words, misreading social cues, low progesterone, anxiety, insomnia, short cycles, spotting before your period, severe PMS, difficulty staying calm, feeling on edge, low testosterone, zero sex drive, loss of muscle tone, lack of motivation, feeling flat or numb, inability to set boundaries, always saying yes when you mean no, high cortisol, constant fatigue, trouble sleeping, weight gain around your midsection, feeling wired but tired, getting sick often, irregular cycles, snapping at your partner, unable to relax or feel safe. Now here is the tricky part. A lot of these symptoms overlap, and they can all feed into each other. For example, high cortisol lowers estrogen. Low estrogen makes you tired. Being tired stresses you out more, which raises cortisol, which lowers estrogen further. It's a cycle. This is why you can't just fix one hormone in isolation. You have to look at the whole system. So what actually throws your hormones out of balance? Chronic stress. We already talked about cortisol, but it's worth repeating. Stress is the #1 disruptor. Poor sleep. Your body produces most of its reproductive hormones while you sleep. If you're not sleeping enough or sleeping poorly, your hormones suffer. Diet. Your hormones are made from the food you eat, specifically from fats and cholesterol. If you're under-eating or cutting out fats entirely, your body can't produce enough estrogen or progesterone. Over-exercising. Yes, exercise is good, but too much exercise without enough recovery raises cortisol and lowers estrogen. This is why female athletes often lose their periods. Birth control. Hormonal birth control shuts down your natural cycle. It replaces your hormones with synthetic versions. That's not inherently bad, but it does mean you're not experiencing your natural hormonal rhythm anymore. Underlying conditions. PCOS, thyroid disorders, insulin resistance. These all mess with your hormones in specific ways. Well, cover PCOS in detail in the next video. Okay, so what do you actually do with this information? 1. Track your symptoms. Not just your period. Track your energy, your mood, your sleep, your sex drive, your ability to communicate, your ability to set boundaries. Look for patterns. If you notice you're always exhausted during your luteal phase, that might be low progesterone. If you never want sex, and you can't say no to anything, that might be low testosterone. If you're anxious all the time and snapping at your partner, that might be high cortisol. 2. Manage your stress. I know that sounds obvious, but seriously. Cortisol is the hormone that breaks everything else. Prioritize sleep. Say no to things. Move your body in ways that feel good, not punishing. 3. Eat enough. Your body needs fat and cholesterol to make hormones. If you're restricting calories or avoiding fats, your hormones will suffer. Aim for balanced meals with protein, healthy fats, and complex carbs. 4. Know when to get help. If your periods are extremely painful, absent, or irregular, see a doctor. If your mood swings are affecting your daily life, see a doctor. If you have zero sex drive for months, or you feel like you've lost yourself in your relationship, see a doctor. Blood tests can measure your hormone levels. A good doctor can help you figure out what's actually going on. Your hormones are not the enemy. They're giving you information about your health, about your stress levels, about your relationships. Learn to listen. If this was helpful, subscribe. Next week, we're diving into PCOS, why 1 in 10 women have it, and most don't even know. It's me, Fleur. Thanks for watching.